A lot of reviewers on YouTube seem to be disappointed with the Letshoeur DZ4. These latest iems from Letshoeur boast a unique design with three 6mm dynamic drivers, a complex crossover system, and a 6mm passive radiator. They are maybe trying to be, if your memory stretches back that far, or if you're into vintage audio, the Bose 901s of the IEM world. For those who do not know what I'm talking about, you could Google Bose 901 and learn more than you would ever want to know about these iconic speakers of the 80s, which featured a unique design with multiple small drivers and developed a cult following. This was in the day of 12-inch woofers and horn tweeters, but most IEM lovers might have to Google those too. I think the disappointed reviewers expected more from the unique DZ4 design than Letshoeur ever intended to provide. The DZ4s are indeed unique looking. They have an aluminum faceplate with an embossed Z with exaggerated apexes, and what I can only describe as an old bone or ivory-looking shell. The shell is fairly smooth with no custom fitting for the ears, but it fits well and stays in place with the right tips. I also find it to be fairly attractive, but that's just me. It comes with a screw-top round case and a really nice cable, though as always I wish it was offered in 4.4mm balanced termination. It's just 3.5 single-ended. It appears to be the same cable material and a similar build to the Galileo and S12 cables. Not bad at all. It also comes with Letshoeur's standard assortment of silicon tips, though I got better sound from it with my usual tips. And the sound? I would have to call it pleasantly engaging, cheerful, with a bright, airy mid-range that dominates, and a sparkly but not aggressive treble. The mid-range is particularly clear and forward, and serves up male and female vocals, slightly warm and very pleasant, and does very well with instruments like piano and guitar. On the other hand, the bass is what I'm coming to think of as the Letshoeur house bass, slightly soft, there, but well back in the mix, good supporting bass, but it never comes forward to be the star of the show. There is some bass rumble when called for, but the mid-bass will not satisfy those who really like a kick in the eardrums bass. And this is the point where most reviewers get stuck. They want to know why. How could Letshoeur have done this? I mean, it has a passive radiator, right? But then, both of my other Letshoeur IEMs, the S12 Pro and the Galileo, have very similar, somewhat lackluster bass. The S12 Pro is a bit more dominant, but that was a second tuning, after reviewers complained about the bass of the original S12. I'm beginning to think that laid-back bass is just the way Letshoeur likes it, the way they think music sounds best, and I cannot argue with the quality of the mid-range and treble on the DZ4. It is what I would call, again, a very cheerful IEM, and lots of fun with the right music. In fact, until you compare it to another IEM in the same price range, or above, the bass sounds pretty good, even on bass-heavy tracks. Probably not for bass-rich acoustic jazz or classical, but for guitar and piano-based music, even violin and cello ensembles, or anything mainly vocal, it can be a very happy match. One problem, obviously, is that the $50 to $100 price point has become overwhelmed with good IEM choices. I think the reviewers hope for something from Letshoeur that would stand out at its price category, something special. And while the DZ4 has a lot to recommend it for those who like the kind of music it does well, it offers nothing not already offered by other IEMs in its category. If you really like bass, but are not a basshead as such, there's the Kiwi Ears Quartet at $20 more than the DZ4. And if you want an all-around, well-balanced performer with good imaging and detail for lots of different kinds of music, there's the new Simgot EM6L, the Phoenix, an absolute steal at the same $109 price. The DZ4 is a good IEM, and it does what it does well, but it is not, after all, the Bose 901 of IEMs. It's unlikely to start an audio cult of any kind.